Okay, let's get going now. This is video number 96. I'm going to do assignment number 36 and more. I'm holding off on assignment number 37. I might want to do a little more practice for that on this very video. So let's go to the first problem here where we give you one square and then we shade it in the middle. I can do that just briefly for you, right? You have your square and it's shaded and they find the leftover stuff. You're very familiar with that. And all it is a little bit of practice on the math you've been taught. There's the setup, the bigger square minus the little square. Notice the negative sign. We've been working on that for way over 2 weeks now. And now I'd just like to slow up here and tell you what I did mental math-wise. 5x squared is 25x. Hope you see that. 3 squared is 9. So I'm just checking off as I go left to right. And 5 times 3 times 2 is 30x. So that's how I taught you to do it. Right or wrong, it's a lot easier than a lot of other ways. 3x squared is 9x squared. I wrote it right there so you can do your check. 2 squared is 4. The middle term is negative, so I subtract the product of these two guys. Again, thinking a squared plus b squared minus 2ab, for whatever good that does anybody. And that gives you minus 12x squared. But I'm minusing, and we remember what we taught you, that minusing means flipping the signs. So I drew a little arrow here, flip the signs, and subtract this from this. It's not in standard form. The x can't go before the x to the 0 power has been explained to you, as has been explained to you. Put everything in standard form, and there's your correct answer. You can pause and you can follow everything I did. And notice that I'm using FOIL as mental math. Okay, we quickly move on to the next one because there's no reason to dawdle over this. I'll give you more. I promise I'll put some more in here, one of these and one of these, and then I really want to move on unless you tell me otherwise. So the second one, it says subtract this from this. So I wrote it out. You have to do the setup right. If you set it up wrong, you're wasting your time. But instead of doing it vertically like I did the guy over here, I'll do this one horizontally. All it is combining like terms. It's like 7th grade math, basically. So here we go again. 5x squared is 25x squared. 1 squared is 1. 5 times 1 is 5 times 2 is 10. The middle is negative. Got it, no problem. Do it in my head, no problem. 3x squared, 9x squared there. 6 is 36. See how important perfect squares are? And 3 times 6 times 2 is 18, is 36. And of course, as you've been explained to you, the negative sign. Doing the equivalent of what I did over here. Flipping everybody, combining my terms and getting the answer. You can check me anytime. So with that in mind, and some notes in front of me, because you got to watch what you're doing here. Sometimes the math can get a little tricky. They want you to adapt, as I explained yesterday in the video, your ideas to squaring numbers. And I think it's great. I think it's very interesting and certainly very appropriate for high school freshmen like you kids are. So I'm cleaning off the board. And I'm going to do the number 78, which was the first number that you were asked to square. And we told you already, and we admitted openly, that I could always put it on the calculator and get the answer right away. But this is a Regents High School math course. So we're upping the ante a little. And I'm going to do it 2 ways and come up with the same answer. And I'll be using the FOIL technique and breaking up numbers and doing things that kids your age should be doing. So let's see. The easiest way that I see it is to think of 78 squared as one number plus another number squared. And that means that it's a plus b times a plus b. That's been explained to you. Okay? That's been explained to you. Now you get yet another chance to see what I'm saying. And then I just pick some numbers to put in here. But why should I pick crazy numbers? Why not pick numbers that make so much sense? How about this? 80 minus 2. Isn't that 78? What's the difference between 78 and 80 minus 2? You tell me. Well, what I do on one, I do on the other. And there you go with a key insight into what they want you to learn at your age. So now I can use the fact that I have a squared plus b squared equals, plus, in this case, 2ab. There I have the whole quadratic trinomial written out in front of me. I just put it over there so you can see it better. So then I just do a squared, which is 6,400. That's why I chose it. 8 squared is 64. Just add on the zeros. 2 squared, of course, is 4. And then 8 times 2 is 160, but if I double it, then it's 320. And here, by the way, it would have been minus, okay? So it's minus 320, okay? Just like you were taught to do. And then 604 minus 320 is, we write that out. I just want to put that in because I make all these mistakes when I'm doing the math. Waste everybody's time for no reason. And there we go. And so some kids might say the check, what's the check? The check really isn't multiplication. The check's the inverse operation. And that's why I said I'm going to talk a little bit about more things over here. So 6084. So let's see if we got the right answer. And then I'm going to do it the other way. I'll show you the other way. So this stuff is properly explained. So I take the square root of function, and I put in 6084, and it's a pity we're not in class now. What number am I expecting to come out now? And hopefully you all have your hands up in the air and you're saying 78. So when I press the button, that's what I get. I know I'm right. And that was a sophisticated way to check my answer. Now I'm going to go back and do 78 the other way, but obviously I'm not going to do all the answers again and again like this. You guys have calculators. Obviously, you love to use them. Sometimes you don't use them wisely, but you love to use them. And I guess I can start right over here. And instead of saying 78 is, oh, by the way here, if we wanted to clear things up, it would have been a minus b, but really the difference is trivial. And over here, I'm just going to choose 70 plus 8, which I see as the easiest way to do this. And that would just be a check that our ideas are good, that it works whether you add or subtract. And here, instead of a squared plus b squared minus 2ab, I'm going to add 70 times 8 times 2. Okay, so I'll do that, and my check will be, do I come up with the same answer as I came up with the other way? And then I'll quickly do the other two. And we'll have more talks about what we're doing here. So here we go. That's 4,900. That's 64. We're adding everybody this time. And so 70 times 8 is 56. And 56 times 2 is 112, just add on the 0. So there you go. I'll just move the numbers horizontally, since that's how they taught me to add when I was a kid. Although, as you see, it's really not necessary. It's just a matter of choice. And there's the 64. So I have to get the same answer as I got before. But you see, I easily do. So there you go. That's what they want you to be able to do. What do you want me to tell you? Okay? You choose which way. If you say on the assignments, you choose the easiest way, like we always do. There's no mystery there. So we had two more, and I'll do them quickly, only one way. And I'm not going to have these prepared. I'll just do them quickly. How's the time? The time's good. And I'll let you guys do the rest of the work. So I'll do the next two numbers quickly, and then I'll just prepare you a little bit with maybe one example for the next one, for assignment 37, in case you didn't get all that. So what's the next number? Is 43 squared. So I'm just moving along now because this stuff has all been explained. There's another way of writing 43 squared. And so there's 1600. There's 9. And then 4 times 3. And there's 240. And then I'm not going to check or anything like that. If I made a careless mistake, who cares? What does sort of interest me is, wow, 1849 is a perfect square. That's kind of interesting. I always pause for a second. The other day, I was doing this kind of work with you guys, and I noticed that 1201 is a perfect square. They pop up in the strangest places. And what's the next one? 35 squared. So because I know I'd rather add than subtract, if no other reason. I rewrite 35, and that means I got 900, 25, and then 300. Am I going to do that right, guys? Yeah. And so there's 5, 2, and 12. Oh, 1201's a perfect square, and 1225 is a perfect square. Interesting to think about that. I wonder if okay. So anyway, I want to check these. I just put the hat over them, and out pops the number that I desired. And so there we are. And now there's a little bit of time left. We're up to 11 minutes. I just want to do one of the problems that I put in 37. And I know I did them. But I want to do another one here because, you know, kids, they need to talk to me so that we go at the right pace here. We don't overdo things. And I'm going to make up some numbers that aren't on assignment number 37. And let's make it really simple. Let's multiply 58 times 62. And let's briefly explain this. And so what I'm doing is I'm thinking that if I put 60 here and subtract 2, and then put 60 here and add 2, then I can immediately take advantage of this thing that we talked about, this configuration I called it, that turns out to be so important as we move along. A minus this number, and then the conjugate, A plus the same number. And we find that that makes calculation very easy. So in this case over here, as I do the numbers here, I get A squared minus B squared, negative times a positive. I'm repeating what I did yesterday, okay? And finally, the middle terms go away because we have minus BA plus AB, and that will always happen, so I don't have to repeat it all the time. So that means the answer here is 3600 minus 4. So even I can do that in my head. That's 5996, right? Plus 4. Very good. So there we go. And with little effort, and you guys are smarter than me in this. Oops, not 39. No, 35. Over here, 3596. I get confused sometimes. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm not going to redo the video just for that, okay? So there we go. 3600 minus 4 is 3596. And I'll quickly do another one for you just to make the ideas clear. And we'll multiply 17 times 23. I'll do it really quick now. And so you can see what I'm talking about. And then we'll talk more about this very interesting configuration. There it is as I go left to right. And so I'm going to do 20 minus 3 times 20 plus 3, knowing the middle terms go away. So it's 400 minus 9, which of course is 391. Now that didn't take much time. We'll leave it like that, and we'll continue talking about assignment 37 a bit later.